Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. Today we're going to talk about the boatload of cards they just dropped on an unsuspecting Wednesday. I woke up this morning and I was just like, oh, just getting ready for work, and then it's like, bam, here's like, a bunch of new cards, and some of them are really crazy and all that stuff. So I want to jump into it. Also, I am going to go back in time and review the cards that I've missed out on reviewing pretty much all the other cards for the set. Sorry it's been so long. Kind of been on like a pseudo vacation, just kind of taking like a tiny break. So, but I am super excited for all these cards. To be honest, there just haven't been like events in Kansas, and I've just been waiting for Set 7 to become a thing. So, but that should be over. I made a poll, and I guess people really want me to do all of them at once. That's gonna be pretty tricky. I'm going to say it's going to be like maybe like an hour to 2 hours of just talking about cards. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll think of a clever way. Maybe I'll just make decks for each of the archetypes that I like, and let's go from there. But I think I'm definitely going to do something. All right, so don't think I'm not. So without further ado, let's start with the expert deck. So so they pretty much made two decks. Both of them with the new colors, and I guess they pretty much decided that the yellow and blue one was cool enough to be a couple extra dollars to have exactly one booster pack from Series 7. So, but other than that, it's pretty much just a standard deck. It also has Sensu Beans, like two reprints in like 2 months, which is uh, I guess good, good for new players. But it's just like it's funny how much it's almost already oversaturated. So let's jump into that. Before the other cool thing about this, so 5 of the cards you get from this deck are going to be foil. I guess the rest are not. I'm not sure how exactly going to do this and how many. I'm guessing they're going to have 2 of each of the new cards in there, so you have to buy 2 decks. But I don't really know. Let's just jump into the cards. So first, there is the leader is the yellow Universe 6 Kaba. So it has a permanent. You can include non-Universe 6 battle cards in your deck except for Vegeta cards. Which I think is pretty fair. There was a bunch of new Universe 6 stuff that was printed, and I think it's fine enough for right now. Once again, I think they've learned their lessons about these things where they just specify battle cards and not extra cards, because you kind of need those to be flexible. Something that is important is that you can't run any overwhelm cards with this leader. Also, you can't run stuff like like Mutaido is like immediately off the top of my head. You can't run this in this deck, even though you are a yellow leader and you want to. That's important. You also can't play like Tao and Tien. So just like a bunch of like generic support cards that happen to be battle cards you can't run in this deck. So that's a little bit. I guess it really makes it that you have to be really aggressive and have to be the win condition has to be you winning, not surviving your opponent a lot of the time. So, but that's kind of what this leader is built for anyway. So it has an auto when a blue or yellow Universe 6 card is played in your battle area. This card gets plus 5k power of duration of the turn. And then choose up to one card from your life and add to your hand. This isn't just on your turn either. This can be on either player's turn, and there's some stuff that does summon stuff, so it's not out of the ordinary. Being able to take a card from your life and add to your hand is fantastic too. And then it's a untap 2 awaken there as well. But yeah, it's interesting that this leader doesn't have like advantage. The way it gets advantage is by taking life. So. That's a bit strange, but nothing too crazy. I think it's fine. And then on the awakened side, so permanent, this card gets plus 5k power when all of your opponent's energy is in rest mode. That's really good. This isn't only on your turn. So if your opponent like taps out for a play, and then you get a easy plus 5k on your leader already. So it's a 20k leader. That's cool. So it's when this card attacks, you draw 1. And also when your opponent's leaders attacks, if all of your opponent's energy is in rest mode, choose up to 2 of your opponent's energy. Cards chosen with this card's skill can't be switched to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. This is kind of silly because it doesn't say if it doesn't have a dependency on your opponent having like 3 or more energy, where most of this energy lock stuff happens. So that's kind of not bad, but that's just a little bit worrisome to me. And then also auto once per turn when one of your cards switches an opponent's battle card or energy to rest mode, draw 1. So this is auto once per turn. This is on either player's turn too, so you can get some extra card draw there. So like just using like Crusher Ball, you get to draw a card and go from there. So I think that's really good as well. I don't think there's enough Universe 6 awakening power right now that this could be like a really big issue. But though, I mean, like your leader does kind of facilitate it too. I don't know if they get really aggressive and then just tap out all your energy, and then that can be pretty annoying. But we'll see how it all goes. I think it's a good leader. I think we'll see a lot of play, but it is restrictive since it is Universe 6 only. But going into the next card, so we've got so it's blue yellow. So we've got this Vegeta Saiyan of Universe 7. When you play this card, choose up 2 of your opponent's battle cards at any cost of 3 or less, return them to their owner's hand, then draw that many cards. So this can be good. I could also, like, real aside, like, this can be good, and this is a 20k Universe 7 tag. I think this is, like, the newest Universe 7 tag, and I think really the only one, really, of this set. But I think this card's okay. Being able to draw cards is great, but I think 4 just for that is a little expensive, so... next up, we've got Champa, Scheming God of Destruction. When you play this card, choose it to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card in your battle area. Other than this card, it gains plus 10k power and double strike for duration of the turn. It doesn't need to be your... It can be your leader because it just says a card in your battle area. So you can pump up your leader if you need to. I think there's some ways to summon this on your opponent's turn too. So let me keep going from there. But if you can, then that's like a big boost for defense too. We've got Sisterly Bonds Kale. When you play this card from your hand and your leader cards at Universe 6, look at the top 10 cards from the top of your deck and choose up to 1 blue or yellow Kaba or Khalifa among them with energy cost of 2 or less, and play it, then shuffle your deck. So the chain continues, I guess. Oh, wait, it says blue or yellow Kaba, never mind. So it's kind of like that green Kaba that was a Dash Pack promo, but a little bit more fair and balanced, having it 2 or less and also a color restriction. Just means that no jank, not as much jank can happen, but I think it's a good call for just this leader, so, and this archetype and all that, since you pretty much are just running blue and yellow Kabas and Khalifas anyways, so good card there. Then we've got Hit, Ace of Universe 6, Auto, Bond 2. Like, I think it's like the only Bond in the entire set, but when you play this card, reduce the combo cost of blue and yellow Universe 6 cards in your hand by 1 for duration of the turn, so this can be good for just playing it like offensively. I have to see how this card can get summoned by other ways, because I know there's like this guy, but I don't know if Bond 2 is a keyword in a... We'll figure it out. So let's go to Kaba's Saiyan of Universe 6. So we play this card like the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 blue or yellow Universe 6 cards, among them add to your hand, then shuffle your deck. If you added a card to your hand, choose 1 card in your hand, drop 1. So it's still a +1, but you still get to just cycle through it, so that's fine. And when you play this card, Plant Sadala is in your battle area, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. Cards chosen with this card's skill can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's turn. So just as opponent's battle cards, it doesn't say actually it is just battle cards, sorry. I'm thinking about cards and energy. It would have just said 1 of cards in your opponent's energy, but it's still being able to rest 1 of your opponent's cards can be good. It's only battle cards that are already in rest mode, but I think this deck is kind of like aggressive by stunning your opponent, so I think this is good for that. And what's the I think the draw 2 effect is more of the reason to play this guy anyway. So you can play Kale for on turn 2, and then use Kale to play Kaba, and then Kaba searches for 2, and then you draw 2 and then drop 1. So I think that's all very good and handy. And there's also Khalifa, Troublemaker of Universe 6. When you play this card, you may choose 1 card in your life, add to your hand. If you do, switch it to 1 of your opponent's energy, switch to rest mode. This card's insane in just like so many ways. The fact that it's a Saiyan that you can use with Shigesh is great. The fact that it's like a 2-for-1, and when it comes to energy, if they only have 1 energy standing up, you win the game, right? Like that seems really dumb in a lot of ways, but this card I can see being really abused in anything that runs yellow, or even is thinking about running yellow. And yellow right now I think is one of the most splashable colors in the game. Like there are a lot of good things that are locked behind yellow that people are putting in. So I think this card's super good. It self-awakens. It gives you advantage. I think it's something to watch out for. So there's that, and then there are the 3 multicolor cards. So there is Vegeta and Kaba. So Barrier, and it has Aegis. Choose up to 2 of your energy, switch to active mode if you drop cards that are blue or yellow, or just a blue-yellow card. And then also when this card activates Aegis, you may choose 1 card from your hand placed in your drop area. If you do, choose to 1 blue or yellow Universe 6 card in your drop area with energy cost 2 or less and no keyword skills and play that card. So being able to just use Aegis to drop one, play, let's say, Khalifa for free, lock their energy, Kaaba to draw cards. I don't know if you can use hit. I don't think you can. I think Bond 2 is a keyword skill, and I think that's literally the only reason they put Bond on this guy, was just so he had a keyword skill. But you could even just play Kale, and you can use Kale, and then Kale can find let's see, and can find a Kaaba or Khalifa and put in play. So just a bunch of possibilities there. Really good like defensive deck choice, and just the fact that you have a yellow leader and you can't get like TN, I think that's great too. So a lot of potential there, and I think this card can be good in the deck. The fact that you have to play it for 3, I don't think is a big deal. I think this is a good turn 3 play. So there is that. I'm trying to think if there's a way to cheat out Kabas. I don't think there is. So next up is Planet Sadala. So it's a field blue-yellow card. When you play this card, when this card is placed in your battle area, choose up to one of you versus 6 card in your hand with energy cost 2 or less and play it. If you play a card, draw 1. So this is just as good as playing a 2-drop because it recycles itself, and then you play a 2 cost or less and play it. And all that, but also when this card is played in a drop area from a battle area, choose up to one of your energy, switch to rest mode, then look at the top 5 cards from your deck, choose up to one of your 6 cards when they cost 5 or less among them, add them to your hand, and shuffle your deck. I don't think that's super good, unfortunately, just because I don't think there's anything that pops these guys, except for playing another one, like playing Planet Vegeta or something. And you have to, I guess, I mean, like choosing one of your opponent's energy, switching to rest mode, I think is really good. And so, like, using, once again, like, 2 energy to pop one of your opponent's energy, I think is good. But I don't think there's, like, enough field destruction or, like, cards that depend on it right now that you'd have to proc this yourself, pretty much. So, which isn't, like, a big deal, but it is an interesting thing. And then Frost Deadly Poison, counterplay. This battle card is... The battle card your opponent is playing is played in rest mode with skills negated for the duration of the turn and draw 1. Then if your life is at 3 or less, choose up to one of your blue or yellow energy, switch it to active mode. So a really neat negate. So this is kind of like Cold Bloodlust that can be on any leader as long as you have 3 energy to proc it. And then also it puts in a rest, so your leader can proc a draw off of it, and you can draw, or what was it? And then it can technically only cost 2. I don't think this card is good in this deck, but I can see this card being experimented in other decks where you want to do this. Pretty much any control deck that doesn't have, access to Cold Bloodlust as it is. So, interesting card. I think it's a little bit too costly. I think it would have been fine as a 2 cost, but maybe not. I don't know. That's it for this deck. Next up, we've got the for beginners starter deck. So this is the green-red King Vegeta deck. 51 card deck, nothing too fancy from the I guess Saiyan Kaba is a good one, but it also just got reprinted, so whatever. So it's just a 51 card deck. I think it essentially has 2 of every card, more or less. Hopefully it has, once again, 2 of each of the specific cards, but let's jump into these cards. So we've got King Vegeta himself, permanent. You cannot include non-Saiyan battle cards in your deck. This is like one of the lesser restrictions in the entire game, but it is still a restriction nonetheless. So I think it's important to think about it. But I think jamming a deck full of Saiyans is what a lot of decks do anyways. So activate once per turn, choose 1 card from your life, add to your hand. Look at the top 5 cards from your deck. Choose up to 1 red or green Saiyan card or King Vegeta's Dynasty among them, add to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So it's it's a +2 on Awaken, which is a fantastic thing. When you have King Vegeta's Dynasty in your battle area and 3 or more cards in your energy, you may draw 1 card, choose up to 1 of your energy, switch it to active mode, and flip this card over. And on the back side, you can do one of these 2 things. You may choose 1 red or green Saiyan card in your battle area, place it in your own drop. If you do draw 1 card, this game is plus 5k power and double strike for duration of the turn. So having a 20k double strike that you draw 1 off of is pretty good. And then also choose 1 battle card in your hand with energy cost of 2 or less, and play it with the skills negated for duration of the turn, then draw 1. So being able to also just cheat out stuff is great, especially if we're trying to like Union Patara stuff. That can really help you out. So I think this is a pretty cool leader. And let's look at like the I want to look at Planet Vegeta first, just so, or King Vegeta's Dynasty, sorry. So it's a field card. It's a red-green one. Auto when this card is placed in your battle area and your leader carries King Vegeta card. Choose up to one Saiyan card with an energy cost of 2 or less in your hand. Play it with skill negation, negated for duration of turn. If you played a card, draw 2. So you don't really have to like sacrifice anything too bad. Having it its effect negated is kind of bad, but being able to draw 2 and have this energy, this card out is nice. And then also when your opponent attacks with a card, you may choose one red card in your energy area, switch to rest mode, and place it in the owner's drop area. If you do so, negate the attack. So just being able to negate attack, well, you still have to pay like one red energy, but it's still just like an emergency negate in a lot of ways. So I think that's fine. It's a weird card, I think, to have a what is it? A field card be the axis of how you awaken for the game, and then also you have to have 3 more energy. So there's not like a bunch of field card destruction. There is field card destruction, but no one uses it right now. So I guess they want to have people use those cards. It's not crazy to just play this on turn 3 and then go off from there. Instead of, if you don't want to risk it on turn 2. And it might actually be kind of hard to get this on turn 2. But the fact that you have to find a card to awaken, and you can look at the top 5, but it also means you also have 5 of these cards in your deck, and maybe that's not what you want. But I think it's a okay card. I wonder if this would be. I guess like it's not a King Frieza or Frieza's army card. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, just because I know like some of the lore. But it's just a Saiyan. No special traits from there. And then the rest of the cards. So we've got Raditz Earth Invader. When King's Dynasty in your battle area is placed in your owner's drop, activate the skill. If Raditz isn't in play, you play this card from your hand. So you get a free Raditz, I guess. It's neat, but not super good. Yeah, I don't think it's super good. Then there's also Vegeta Royal Prince. So after main was turn, choose one card in your life, add it to your hand. This card gains plus 5k power and critical for duration of the turn. So yeah, I think this is somewhat better than like the 2/1 drops. Having it an active main instead is an interesting choice, but it also means like you can't get walled out by not being able to attack. You can still just choose one card in your life, add to your hand. So this is an interesting card. I think the 1-drop Gohan is still better, but this is definitely interesting. So, and then we've got our Fated Kaioken Son Goku. So arrival for red green, which I think is pretty reasonable. So only one Fated Kaioken Son Goku can play in your battle area. Once per turn, choose one card in your life, add to your hand. If your life is at 3 or less, and your leader card is Saiyan card, this card gains double strike and dual attack for duration of the turn. So that's pretty good. It's also it's an active once per turn only, so you can't just go all the way through your life. Like I think there's another one in the actual set, but I think this is powerful. It's a good win condition on itself. Just can do 4 damage and self awaken, that kind of stuff, and you can play it for only 2 energy. So a lot of interesting stuff there. I think this could be like a mediocre kind of finish card for any red green decks, but yeah, there's all that. I think the most interesting thing in this deck is the leader, and I guess like the planet King Vegeta's Dynasty. I hope you get 4 of these in the starter deck. That could be really terrible if you only have 2 of these in their starter deck, but I digress in that part. So next up, we've got the Series 7 pre-release. So they've got dash packs, and it looks like it's somewhat slated for only the pre-release. Like at least there's only the stamped ones. I guess you can get like the non-stamped versions of the dash packs if you order a box. But I think it's a fine thing. You only get one. I think if I remember right, you're supposed to get 2 for every box in the older cards, but I guess they're only doing 1, which that's not good. But let's look at the cards for that. So we've got Energy Volley of Gogeta. So it's a 5-drop Gogeta BR. It's double striking, X evolve for 3 red energy. When a card evolves into this card, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose up to one battle card with a 35k power or less from it and place it in your opponent's drop area. This card is pretty nice, I'd say. Being able to, first of all, doing something on like turn 2 or 3 for a Gogeta deck is something like, specifically turn 3. Like they have like a really weird turn 3 where they don't really want to do too much, but they just don't use a lot of their energy. I think this can really fill up for that turn. And being able to just rip a combo piece out of your opponent's hand can help you a lot. So I think this card is great. One thing you have to be aware of, so it is an EX Evolve for 3 red, and it's on a Vaku BR. So, and when most of these Vakus, when they're played, they get played by discarding, a Goku and a Vegeta. So you technically go minus, 2? Like a secret thing for this EX Evolve is that you have to also essentially pitch 2 cards and also have a Vaku. So it's a lot that you're sacrificing. It's not just a free drop, but you also just keep this double strike 25k on the field as well. So there's a lot of good and bad with it. In general, I think it's mostly worth it. It can really help you against some more combo grindy decks. So there is that, and then we've got let's see. There's Trunks Hope of Saiyans. When this card attacks, look at the top 3 cards from your deck. Choose up to 1 blue Saiyan card among them, add to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This card's alright. It's like the Yamcha, but instead of Earthlings, it is specifically blue Saiyans because they realize that, hey, there are a lot more Saiyans than there are Earthlings, so we should probably restrict it to blue. But this card's alright. Nothing too, nothing super big to write home about, but I think it's alright. So there is that. And then also we've got Overwhelming Energy Broly. This card I'm actually really excited for. So it's a 6-drop Broly, so that means you can do some fancy stuff with going into, from the 4-drop into the 6-drop. When you play this card, if your leader card is green, Frieza Army, there are 3 or more battle cards in play in your battle area, draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. So this is really helping out the Chile and Paragus decks, just because the green Broly leader can't have 3 battle cards, so it's really it's really telling why this card is like that. But also for 1 green energy, place this card in its own drop area, choose it to 1 Broly BR card with the energy cost of 7 from your hand and play it. So being able to scoop into the 7-drop, and then also once again having this an easy way to go into the 7-drop lets you go into the big boy secret rare as well. So I think this card's good. I think you'll see a lot of experimentation, and I think it will really help the non-Star Deck Broly green Frieza Army decks for this kind of combo. So there's that, and then there's also Vegeta Master's Temperament. This card's also, I think, pretty good. So it's a Vegeta Saiyan Universe 7 dual attack. When you play this card and your leader card is yellow, if your opponent has 4 or more energy and a combo card is in play in your battle area, choose up to 2 of your opponent's energy, switch into rest mode, and card is chosen with this card's skill can't switch to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. So just dropping this boy in general, you don't have to win that turn. It just sets you up for a lot of winning the next turn, right? You do have to have a Cobb on your field, so you can't in your battle area, so you can't just have a leader. But I still think this is kind of nuts, just being able to just lock down so much energy. And then if you look at this this leader as well, if all your opponent's energy, when your opponent leads attack and all your opponent's energy is in rest mode, choose 2 of your opponent's energy. So they have to be careful about how they play their next turn too, because if they tap out and swim with their leader, then they're super tapped out, right? They have essentially 4 energy they can't use. So I think that's really good. I think this can be really abused in a lot of ways. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, good card. And there's just they really ramped up the amount of energy lock that yellow has. So we'll see how much that will continue. So next up we've got from set 5 themselves. So they also released the black cards today, and the dimensional rare, something like that. I don't remember the name of it, but so we got this blew me away, the cards that were printed for this. So first we've got Son Goku Dimensional Defender. So this is an Overwhelm card that they're still printing, which is nuts that they we don't know about Overwhelm, but here it's back. So Overwhelm for 3 for 1 energy. When this card attacks me, choose 1 card in your life, add to your hand. If you do so, choose up to 2 black battle cards in your warp, place them in your drop area. So not too bad. Being able to draw 1, awaken yourself is nice. I think that's something that black decks are kind of missing right now, so that's cool. It's also a Dimensional Defender, which is important for reasons to come forward. Let's see, and they just made a bunch of weird utility cards. So there's Son Goku Making Interest, so you can just counterattack and play this. It's specifically no combo cost, so that's interesting. But just the fact that I don't know, it just wastes the you just have to the only thing that's good about this is that Son Goku Zenu. Other than that, I don't think it's really worth it. You just run an actual negate that can do something better than have a 5k body that you can't even combo with. And then there's Vegeta making an entrance. This card's a little bit more better, and by a little bit more, I mean very more. So it's a counter. Choose up to 3 battle cards. Sorry, choose exactly 3 battle cards at any cost 3 or more, and power of 35k or less in your drop area. Place them in the bottom of your deck in any order. Play this card. Permanent. This card can't be played from any area using. Can only be played using counter skills, and only one Vegeta making entrance can be played in your battle area. So let's see. Oh wait, so this isn't actually counter anything though, right? Okay, you know what? I'm just a big dummy. I thought this is like battering where it counters the counter. It just activates on a counter. So that this card's weird. Okay, I just had like reading it out loud. I had a brain fart. Like dang. But yeah, just I mean, being able to play this for 1 energy on a counter is I think okay. It's a weird way to also get cards back to the bottom of your deck, especially. I mean, I don't know. I think the 2-drop Vegeta is probably better at that, but Vegeta making an entrance is an interesting card. I don't know why I thought it would. Because like let's look at battering real quick. Let's see. Oh boy, is it in set 1? Yeah, let's say it's in set 1. Bad. Alright, nope. It's in set 2, ain't it? Oh, that's Series 1 starter. I meant to goof. Let's see. Bad. Bad. Alright, negate the counter. Yeah, so it doesn't do that. Alright, I'm a goofus. I don't know what I'm thinking about. But yeah, don't do that. Don't be an Egman. Realize what this card does. But I mean, still like 1 energy for 15k is all right, but it is definitely a weird card. Maybe I mean I guess it can be good against Janemba and stuff with recycling, but definitely a weird card. I mean, like I could see this in Mass Saiyan too. Like if they have a bunch of those cards in their deck, and so you just pop this whenever they play a negate, and then you have like another force coming. Like a 15k is nothing to like make fun of because it is pretty. You can go against like a awakened leader, and still they have to combo something. So I think that's fine. Let's see. Super Saiyan Trunks. I love this card. Make skillless Toa things. So let's go forward through that. Nothing else to say with them. Trunks Time Regulator. When you play this card using Overwhelm, draw 2, then choose 1 card in your hand, send it to your warp. This I don't know why this card just seems like really weird and outdated compared to like the Bardock one that draws 2 and drops 1. It also puts it in the drop instead of the warp, which is usually better. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's an Earthling, so it's better than. I don't know. I think this card's just. There's so many like overwhelm cards that like let you have like some card advantage. I don't think this one's super good, but maybe there's a situation where it's fine. So I like Time Patrol. I think is just still better because you still get to draw 1 and fix your next draw maybe. So it's kind of like the same as discarding 1, but I digress. I mean, if you need to like draw 2, I don't know what I'm talking about. This it's just it's a draw 1. What are you gonna say? And then there's Supreme Kai Time Regulator. It's a blocker that when you play, you draw 1. Cool. And it's got no combo power, so it literally just has to be a blocker, which I think is fine. It's a rare too. Dang, this is pour one out for people who get that. Any of these other cards rares? Uncommons. Everything's uncommons, but man, that is a stinky rare to draw. I'm gonna say it. Then there's the Demigra, the Sorcerer. When you play this card, you may choose 1 card in your life, add to your hand. Good. If you do, your opponent chooses their hand and places them in their, or choose cards in their hand and places them in the drop until they have 12 cards in hand. That's weird. Also, if it doesn't say like if you have 10 cards, like do you draw 2? Like that's not how the case. But it's just logically it's worded really sillily. So, but it really is just for self-awakening and just generic self-awakening. I don't expect this effect to go off any time. So then there's Toa Dimension Leaper. So also a very interesting card. I guess I didn't say so. When it has these counterplays, you still have to pay the energy cost for it too. But your 2-drop blocker Revenge on play I think is cool, and then choose 2 cards in your drop area, send them to your warp. I think all this is okay. But it is weird. I don't think it's good. And this is a rare too, rip. But yeah, I think it's an interesting card, but nothing too crazy at this time is going to come from it. I mean, it's a Toa, so if you need it for like Mira, it could be a good card. But and if you're just if you're playing like the way where you just use so much overwhelm that you don't have anything on turn 2 except for missing your time regulator, then this could be an okay card, I guess. So there's that. And then the big boy card, the Child's Wish Who card, the Assembling the Squad. So permanent, this card gains desire in all areas. If your leader card is a Shenron card, choose one battle card from your deck with equal energy cost of 2 or less and 15k power or less and play it, then shuffle your deck. This card's nuts. I think it's good in the sense that it will kind of fix a lot of the decks fix some decks that were kind of affected by Child's Wish, but being able to just find a card that's 2 cost or less from your deck is, I think it's silly. I think you'll see a lot of play, yeah, there's just a lot of things that can go with this. So a very interesting design choice, but I don't think it's going to be as broken as Child's Wish. I think having an energy cost of 2 instead of 3 is a big deal. But I think there are ways to abuse this. We just don't know about it yet. So keep a Dragon Radar on this card. Okay, Time Transmission G. This card is just like that other card, Dark Plot, except for it's 1 less energy when you play cards, and you can use Dark Overwhelm. People are saying this is a bad copy paste. I think it's okay. It's not great. A 4 cost extra card is usually pretty stinky to just have in your hand, but the fact that you can get Dark Overwhelm helps a lot. Being able to untap 2 is great. The fact that Dark Overwhelm cards stick is a big deal as well, so you can get like the Migras and stuff, but I don't think this card's fantastic. Thank God it's a common though. If it's a rare, rip. Toki City, the fun card. So when you play a card using Overwhelm, place the top card of your deck under this card and then active main for 3. Or active main, choose 3 cards under this deck, send them to your warp. If the leader card is black, battle cards you play using Overwhelm aren't sent to the warp at the end of the... Battle cards that you play using Overwhelm aren't sent to the warp at the end of your turn. So that's kind of neat. The only card I can really think is like a big deal about this is Fu, the one that drops cards. I think we've already talked about all of this. I think this card there are probably some interactions I'm not thinking about, but I think this can have some niche play, but I don't think it's fantastic. And then let's see, Unexpected Turn. So counterplay, if your opponent has 3 or more cards in play with energy cost 2 or more, the battle card your opponent plays is placed in the owner's drop area instead. Then choose all cards with energy cost 2 or less ignoring barrier and send them to their owner's warp. So I think this card is actually really good. The fact that you're able to so you can't use this against green Broly, but I think there are a lot of decks where you're able to play this, even against decks where you can't what am I trying to say, even the decks with deflect, you can still play this against them. They're not affected and they can just kind of warp all the rest of their cards. So I think that's a cool thing. It might see some side deck play. It's not immediate to me if there are any decks that will be really punished by this, but it's a cool tech card, and I think it's kind of in a way like a more generic like Flying Nimbus in a lot of ways. So an interesting card. We'll see how it goes. It's also only for 1 energy, unlike a lot of those other like counter plays that are like 2 specific green or 2 specific red. So I don't think that is something to scoff at. So interesting card. We'll see how it goes. I don't have super high hopes, but it's an interesting card. All right, and then we'll go to the Infinite Saiyan rares. That's super silly. My guess is that this is going to be like other sets where they're going to have like 2 or 3 of these in each box. So all these cards have one restriction. You can't have any non-color cards than this card in your hand, deck, or life. If you have any non-color cards in areas other than your deck, hand, or life, you can't play this card from any area, which is a really interesting thing, which also means like these cards can't be played in Wish decks in any regard. The only one that can is the Son Goku, but you simply can't, because you have to have Dragon Balls in there. Unless you just like hold off on all your Dragon Balls in your hand, there's that. And I think these are really weird cards to be put in now, just because they're kind of pushing all this like multicolor stuff, and then they have all these rares that are specifically saying, hey, have some cards that have red in them, and they have to have red. So I think that's weird, but we'll see how it goes. So we've got Super Saiyan 3 Nappa, Saiyan's Might. It's critical. When you play this card from your hand, choose up to 1 card in your opponent's life, place in the drop area. This card's probably like the one that I can see having the most play. Just being able to crit like actually hit a life is fine. I think it's something that's worth being under such a huge restriction. So I think this is worth the cost of it. Yeah, I think if there was a deck to take off, it'd be a mono red deck with this in it. Let's look at the other ones. So there's Super Saiyan 3 Trunks, 4-drop, 20k, double strike, permanent, same as. And you also can't play when you play this card. You can't play another one for the duration of the turn. And when this card attacks, choose all battle cards without keyword skills in your drop area and combo with them in your combo area. So, which is a weird way to say non-super combo, I guess. It's because super combo is a keyword skill, right? Yes, maybe. I have to make sure. I think it is, right. It's keyword, but active main also for once per turn for 4 energy, draw 2 cards and switch this card to active mode. I don't really see that ever really happening though, because you have to already play 4 to play them. So unless you have like a bunch of like the trunks that untap energy, it just seems like a weird win condition, and 4 energy to draw 2 and have a dual attack I think is weird. Then there's Super Saiyan 3 Broly, Saiyan Berserker. This card actually might be kind of good too. So it's only green cards, and you have to use the green Broly leader, which is like, the set, 1 or 2 1. Active main for 4, choose 1 Broly ring in your battle area and place in your owner's drop. Play this card from your hand. So that's kind of neat that you're able to, kind of cheat him out that way. And then when you play this card, choose up to 1 green Broly card in your hand, which a cost of 7 or less, and play it. So that's also really good. There's some big boy Brolys for that. So there's that. And when this card is placed in your drop area from your hand by a skill, and your leader card is a Broly card, choose up to 1 Broly ring from your deck, activate it. Then shuffle your deck. If you do, choose 1 or 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand. So just the fact that this card can do that last thing is what is really good. It's kind of like helping out the set 1 Broly deck, and but you can't use any of the new red stuff, so it's strictly for the green stuff. Overall, it's just a really interesting card. So the idea is that you swing at this, swing with your leader, drop this Broly, you get a Broly running from your deck, you play it, shuffle your deck, then you can add some cards from your life so you can help yourself awaken, which this deck can suffer from. All in all, interesting. We'll see how it goes, but I think it has a lot of flavor to it. I like it. So Kefla has an active main for 2. Choose 1 card from your hand, place it in your drop area. You play this card from your hand, so being able to cheat this out for turn 2 is nice. You do have to drop a card, but that's kind of a little bit minor. But the idea of that, being able to, when you play this card, choose 1. You either choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignore barriers, switch to rest mode. So being able to just do that is fantastic. I can see it great, Height of Mastery decks, but also being good at in decks like what are their names? Like Slug, being able to get that Slug Boy off the field, but also you can choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So I feel like that can be really handy. I think it's a little bit heavy-handed to have strictly yellow cards, but I think it's all right. I could see this being played in BoJack. Ooh, look at me thinking about BoJack at the back of my mind. But I think the cost of being specifically having like only yellow cards. I guess you can have some overwhelm cards and kind of have a little bit of cheese with that. But if you any non-yellow cards, so I guess you could have like some multicolor cards, but you can't have like any like solid blue cards. So I think that's a weird way to restrict these cards. But once again, I could see this doing stuff in that. So very interesting. It's probably has the most utility and the easiest one to play, but it's not super good. I'm going to say that. And then there's Son Goku Saiyan Transcendence. So you Xeno Evolve on a Son Goku Xeno, energy cost of 3 or less. So boom, you can do it on like one of these 2. So this Son Goku or this one. So like this actually has something. It's not just a dead card after you play it. But yeah. So if you have any non-black cards and errors other than your deck life or hand, yada yada. I think this card is still like there are already cards that are running mono black, so I think this is fine in those decks. But the thing that it does is just like so I guess it makes your Son Goku permanent, and then it's a big 25k double strike. But you also, if you have 3 or less energy, you can't play this card from any area. So that's weird that it's stuck behind a 4-drop, and then also choose up to 4 black battle cards in your warp and place them in your drop area. So I mean, I don't know. This all seems just really wonky to me. Like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why? I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't really feel like it does anything. It just, you get a double strike for 2 energy, a 25k double strike for 2 energy, and 1 card and 2 cards. I don't think it's super worth it, but there you go. So that's a bunch of the cards that came out today. There are a lot. This video is like way. I thought this would take like 30 minutes, but we're way over that. In general, I think all these cards are neat. Some of them are neater than others, but it really did make me really excited for the set. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. So I'm definitely going to go back and look at all the primary colors that I haven't covered yet. There are a lot of cards that I'm excited for from those as well. But these are all the cards that Bandai decided to once again drop on an unsuspecting Wednesday. So hopefully you got some insight. Hopefully, like, even like that Vegeta that I thought was super good. Don't be an Eggman. Realize it doesn't actually counter stuff. You just play it for free. So that's kind of interesting, but kind of, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.